Hello there. It is, at least for one more minute, June 3rd, 2015, Wednesday, comic book day. In the first part of this video, I reviewed the DC books that I picked up this week. And in this video, I'm reviewing, well, you'll see, but the non-DC books that I picked up this week, starting with issue number 2 of Swords of Sorrow, the big Dynamite Comics all-female crossover book. In the last issue of this, we were basically given a roll call of a lot of the heroes that we could expect to see, including Vampirella, Red Sonja, Doja Thoris. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. Deja Thoris, from John Carter, the Princess of Mars. Wild Girl, a whole bunch of Lady Zorro, whole bunch of really kick-ass kind of Pulp Fiction and public domain and comic book heroes, or heroines rather. And in this book, we see them as this blue lady who is called the Traveler. As she so eloquently puts it, we see them squabble. We open on the Traveler, but then we go to Red Sonja landing on Mars and meeting Princess Thoris, Doja Thoris. I'm still not exactly familiar with the name or the character all that much, but they squabble. They get into a bit of a fight, which lasts most of the issue. Meanwhile, Vampirella is fighting a T-Rex, and other things happening too. Eventually, Sonja and the princesses, I'm just going to call her the princess, their fight is interrupted by the prince, who is the big bad of this story, by the prince's minions, which are called the Shardmen. Yeah, the Shardmen, and this kind of team of Shardmen on Mars is led by Catherine Bell. Again, not quite sure. Catherine Bell, not quite sure who she is, but she's leading the attack on Sonja and the princess. So, of course, in the face of a greater threat, they decide to team up. And, of course, as they're attacked, so are other heroines. We got Jane from Tarzan, Tarzan's wife, Jane, who decides that she's had enough of that and is going to slice him with her ebony blade. We also have Panthera, Lady Zorro, and who's this? Oh, no, they're both Lady Zorro. Great. Okay, cool. So they get in on the fight against the Shardmen too, and that's pretty much the book. It is going slowly, but we were, I guess, introduced to the Shardmen this issue, and we're seeing them, Sonja and the princess at least, kind of figure out, okay, we got these swords. Why were they given to us? Why is all this weird stuff beginning to happen? And they still don't know, but they do know they're being attacked, that they have to defend themselves, and that they have to figure out why all the stars are disappearing. I do hope this story does kind of speed up as we get into issue 3. I hope more people kind of come together and cross over in the main story, because I'm not picking up any of the side stories. Haven't heard anything one way or the other about them, so I'm just going to stick with the main story right now. But yeah, very enjoyable issue, if a bit scarce on actual plot going forward. Put it over here. Next up, we have a favorite book of mine, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, issue number 6, and the book continues to be just great, just hands down one of the best, still one of the best books published every month. In this issue, Squirrel Girl is introduced to two new heroes. The first being the Chipmunk Hunk, and the second being Koi Boy. And if you couldn't tell, it's revealed very quickly in the story that Chipmunk Hunk is Thomas from school that Squirrel Girl goes to, and Koi Boy is another classmate of theirs. And they become friends. They have what the author, the narrator, indeed, calls a friendship montage, and it's great. And everything in this book is great. In the beginning of this book, they're fighting Hippo, who is a hippo, who is also anthropomorphic. And he has his own Deadpool trading card, because of course they do. Yeah, and like Squirrel Girl beats up the hippo peacefully, like without much fighting, because like there's a better way. Squirrel Girl finds a better way, because Hippo has legitimate complaints that he's a hippo, or was a hippo. Suddenly he's now part human, and he's really hungry, and he's not used to this new world of being human. So he's kind of angry, and he doesn't have a job, and he can't support himself. So Squirrel Girl helps him find a job, and like that stops him. That's what he wanted, which is like great. Oh man, this book is just too good. Then at the kind of end point, we're introduced to yet another character, Girl Squirrel, who is a superpowered squirrel. And then the book gets really, really good. Because we follow Squirrel Girl for a bit near the end, but because because Girl Squirrel, only speaks in Squirrel, the narrator has to translate, and the narrator becomes a character in his own right, and it's the same narrator who does the stuff on the bottom of the pages, and he's so great, because Girl Squirrel is being really mean to everybody, and he refuses to translate, and oh my goodness, this book is seriously like one of the best things I read every month, and if you're not reading it, you really should pick it up from issue 1. It'll probably be in trade soon. Just treat yourself. Squirrel Girl is just amazing and awesome and really good. Like, just so good. Hilarious and just fun. It's just fun and not mean and nice and great. And yeah. Definitely pick it up is what I'm trying to say, because everything about it is brilliant. What else we got here? Next up is Amazing Spider-Man 18.1. Continuation of the Spiral kind of spin-off mini-story we got here with Spider-Man and the Black Cat and the Wraith and everything like that. So we open on Black Cat interrupting a mob turf war in order to hopefully get both gangs to agree to serve her instead of either Tombstone or Hammerhead. But of course they don't, because they're they're goons, but they're loyal goons. You can't fault them for loyalty. So instead, she teams up with Crime Masters and his team of enforcers to break Tombstone and Hammerhead out of jail, so then she can get them to be loyal to her, so then she gets their gangs. It's all very logical. Meanwhile, Peter is kind of wrestling with the fact that Wraith has gone a bit too far, and he's beginning to wonder, is Wraith a bad person? Did she turn from hero to villain? Or is she just making some bad decisions? She's obviously under lots of pressure. Has she gone completely rogue? Can Spider-Man still trust her to be a hero? And as Spidey and Wraith go to stop the jailbreak that Black Cat is planning, that is put to the test, and that's all I'm going to say, because I've showed off a lot of this story. Or a lot of this issue. So far, the story, it's, I don't know. It definitely feels different from the main Spider-Man story, from the Dan Slott written books. I think it feels like I don't know. Like a lot didn't there was a lot that didn't happen in this issue. The first bit with Black Cat and the enforcers seems a bit drawn out. Only because, but only in retrospect. Only once you've like finished reading, it's like, oh, that's half the book already, where not much happened at all. And then the last half of the book is kind of half of Spider-Man and Wraith stopping the jailbreak. Spider-Man tries to make amends with Black Cat, while Wraith goes after the enforcers. There's some pretty neat fighting. I showed you, I think, like pretty good pages. I still like the art in this book a lot. I like the bright colors because I've always liked bright colors, and I think I always will like bright colors. Cover too, really fun cover. But yeah, hard to say either way. It's part 3 of a story, so I guess we're reaching the proverbial calm before the storm. Yeah, that's it for this book, I guess. Not much to be said past that. But next, we have another Spider-Man story, this one tying in with Secret Wars, Amazing Spider-Man #1, Renew Your Vows. And as you can tell from the cover, this story fixes a mistake made 7 years ago, I want to say, when Marvel Comics decided to retcon Spider-Man's marriage to Mary Jane in the worst way possible, involving Peter making a deal with the devil to erase his marriage. It was awful. Nobody likes it. And so now Marvel's finally kind of fixing that mistake with Renew Your Vows, where on Battleworld, Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man, remains married to Mary Jane. And they even have a daughter named Annie. And everything seems pretty good until Peter is called in. Peter still has his job at the Bugle, too, as a photographer, and he begins to find out that heroes are dying. That so far Punisher and Moon Knight have been killed, while Daredevil and Iron Fist have gone missing. Peter takes this to the Avengers, where he finds out that, yeah, they already know, and they're wondering what's going on. And Peter would do everything he could to help, except he has a family now. Venom ends up breaking out of jail, and so he has to go defend his wife and kid. And this story, it is a really good, it's a really good story, for so many reasons. Because, written by Dan Slott, and what Dan Slott does here is, like I said, nobody liked the One More Day storyline, where Spider-Man gave up his marriage, traded it in for, I think it was Aunt May? Anywho, nobody likes that story. Dan Slott realizes that, and he's kind of giving us, okay, well, this is what would have happened if Spider-Man remained married, but he's kind of putting like an evil genie twist on it. And I don't want to spoil what exactly, but needless to say, it involves that old Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility thing, and kind of twists it on its head by asking, is family a greater responsibility? And while the Avengers go off to fight Regent, who has been killing off all the other heroes, Peter has to decide whether he's going to defeat Regent, who is killing other heroes, or protect his family and fight off Venom. And then to what lengths will he go to defend his family from Venom? Will he break certain codes that he hasn't broken before in order to defend his family, his wife and daughter? So it's definitely giving, I think readers and fans something to think about. Yes, Peter was happy when he was married, but that is a great responsibility. And to what lengths will Peter go? How much power will Peter have to show? Will he have to, make a show of force, so to speak, get that power to keep his family safe? and we're one issue in. This is going to be at least 4 issues, and so it's already gotten very, very deep. It's a very good, very, very good first issue to what is shaping up to be an incredibly interesting story that really, really goes all in. It's not just, okay, here's Peter and Mary Jane, they have a child now and everything's great. It's, this is a new circumstance, or, for 7 years this hasn't been the circumstance, and now what if it is again? How would the story have to change now that this is a thing again? And it gets real. It gets really real by the end of this book, and wow, it is already one of the best Spider-Man stories in recent history. Just the emotional punch you get by the end, and how it makes you think. You're definitely getting past a lot of black and white areas. You're definitely going into the gray and thinking, okay, is this what Spider-Man should do? This isn't as black and white as with great power comes with great responsibility. So yeah, definitely a very, very, very deep kind of thought experiment into Spider-Man, and something I really enjoyed, and just wow. Pick it up if you are a fan of Spider-Man. Pick it up if you hate One More Day. I think that is the same group. I think fans of Spider-Man and haters of One More Day, same group. That Venn diagram is a circle, so just everybody pick up this book. You will not be disappointed. Next up, we got Secret Wars Battleworld, the anthology from the Battleworld stuff. And there's one panel from this book, there's one page from this book I want to show you guys. I want to show it to you so badly. Unfortunately, it is the best page in comics this week, and if I show it to you, you have almost no reason to pick up this book for yourself. But it is seriously, that's how good. That is how good this book is, where one panel is worth the price of entry. But instead of showing you that one panel, I'm just going to show you another one that sets up the story that panel is in. It is Blade versus Duck Dracula. This is a Blade and Howard the Duck kind of crossover story. It is hilarious. It is great. And that one panel I want to show you so badly. It is the funniest panel I have read in comic books in a long, long time. Probably the single funniest panel I have ever seen in a comic book. And because of that, I cannot possibly spoil it for you. Needless to say, I laughed out loud for minutes. I had to put the book down, and I was just like, I can't believe it was so good, guys. It was so good. And of every book I've read this week, I have to recommend this one the most. Honestly, honest to goodness, one panel is worth the $4 for this book. A single panel. It is that good. It involves ducks. It involves Blade. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to put this down and move on to the next book. But definitely, I want to get that one panel framed. So funny. So good. And now, last book this week. I'm just going to pour myself a bit more water because I am parched. But the next book, and the last book, rather, this week is Marvel Secret Wars issue number 3. And this is definitely ramping some stuff up within the Secret Wars universe. Definitely moving that story forward. So we have Stephen Strange and Doctor Doom catching up after the events of last issue. And we have Doom and Stephen walking in... Basically, if you've watched Game of Thrones, you've you're probably used to characters walking in gardens having a discussion about things, and that is basically what happens in the opening few pages to this book. Stephen and Doom are walking in a garden talking about Doom's godship, and how even though Doom is omnipotent, omnipotent rather, he is not omniscient, and so Stephen Strange has been kind of keeping track of every little thing that's going on in Battleworld. Meanwhile, we also learn that Stephen Strange remembers the previous world. He remembers pre-Battleworld, and that he even shaped Battleworld with Dr. Doom, and he could have been God instead of Doom, but let Doom be God. He didn't want the responsibility, I guess. So we're learning a lot about Battleworld, and that Stephen Strange is from a pre-Battleworld world becomes very, very important as we discover that he's not the only survivor. Him and Doom are not the only survivors of the incursion. As Miles Morales shows up in this book, and Miles Morales stowed away on the same raft that the Cabal took last issue, that landed safely in Battleworld from the Ultimate Universe. Miles Morales hitched a ride on that, and he's now on Battleworld, full with memories of the incursion. And we also find out that Stephen Strange has squirreled away the life raft from the 616 universe, including 616 SpiderMan, and a whole bunch of other heroes. 616 Captain Marvel, Thor, Star-Lord, Reed Richards, Black Panther, Cyclops, who's now the Phoenix. And yeah, the story's definitely picking up as Stephen Strange unleashes these heroes from pre-Battleworld and kind of introduces them and says, this is the status quo now. We also learned some more kind of world building with Battleworld, including the fact that Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, is the sun, and that the sun of Battleworld does revolve around the world instead of the world revolving around the sun, because the sun is Johnny fucking Storm, which it's just awesome, the world building that goes on in this book. Secret Wars is, so far, 3 issues in, just a very, very well done crossover. Building off this new world of Battleworld so well, and the pacing is just fantastic with the us learning what the characters know, characters from pre-Battleworld learning the rules of this world along with the reader, and us slowly getting this trickle of, okay, I know this character, this isn't new, this is familiar, but in an unfamiliar place, and it all mixes together very well. Miles is in the book, Peter Parker's in the book, like our 616 Peter. Captain Marvel's in the book now, and so things are, I believe, really going to ramp up and get good as Doom has these, these heroes that remember things from before he was God. So very cool stuff. We also have some stuff with the Cabal, but that's at the very end. Don't quite know where that's going yet, but they're also on Battleworld, Thanos, and a bunch of other villains from both the 616 and the Ultimate Universe. Yeah, Secret Wars, very good. Have not enjoyed an issue so far. And that is it for part 2 of the comic book reviews. If you haven't seen part 1, that is all the DC stuff. So if you're interested in what DC is doing post-Convergence, check that video out. If you liked this one, please give it a thumbs up. If you want more of these every week, please subscribe. Any comments, questions, anything whatsoever, leave them down below. And yeah, thank you for watching this week, and hope you'll join me next week for more comic book reviews. Thanks again for watching.